Hello, and welcome to my spoken word channel. My name is Stephen Lackey, but like any other label, that name is simply a collection of letters that make sounds to convey meaning, a meaning which may have varying connotations for those who voice and or hear it. The spoken word is much the same, its effect ranging from dissonance to resonance, apathy to revulsion, sometimes even to the same person over time. I'll be reading some of my own work today, offering analysis of its meter, rhyme scheme, and content. If you find it appealing, heartening, or evocative, or even not worth remembering, please consider the aforementioned variability of response. Words, much the same as attitudes, friendships, and even the air we breathe, may teach us, transform us, or pass uninspiringly in this moment, but the next is yet to be defined. What follows is a poem and its accompanying sequel, or more specifically, prequel. The two parts will be time-stamped separately in the video description. Herein are my copyrighted works. All rights reserved. But please, forget the name and remember the message. Also, feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today's pieces. Accented Girl. Accented girl, I hear them in your voice, those musical conventions that a distant land employs to reminisce its history's richness, its placid waters and rolling hills, its hardy people, deep culture, and its future forming still. You know, I have a melodic ear, oft humming, strumming, singing, mimicking, composing, laughing when I'm accidentally bringing secrets to the surface, discerned by those who'd care to listen. By those with ears like mine, but different, just enough to give them pause, a moment's wish to travel to the places and faces of a home so utterly, wonderfully different from much that they'd previously known. The divinity of such confluence is what draws me to your song, its bellowed peals and lilting truths, its allure undeniably foregone. Accented girl, perhaps we're predestined to find a reason to explore worlds beyond ourselves to heal the great divides. That's just speculation, of course, but my mind's been set to racing with lyrical tones and inflections, magic you can't help interlacing. It's forward to exposit, yes, but just as remiss in attempts to deny the uniqueness of my truth that you might have chanced to find. Reminiscences of storied history in calm waters and wild grass hills, the strength of a people and culture whose future is forming still. Does it sound like music to you? Or is that my interpretive twist? In any case, I'm pleased that we can harmoniously coexist. Heterochromatic girl. Heterochromatic girl, I see it in your eyes. I see it in your skin. I see it as defined as night is not day, as rock is not sky, as blood is not thought, and as fear is not time. Two browns may exist as observed sameness without an investment, without one's nameless desire to delve deeper to molecular constituents, to sub-nuanced melodies in brashest confluence. Such iridescent hues are a chameleon's duality, serene and singular while japing observable reality, cream to eggshell to buff, speckled, freckled, aglow, undulant and enthralling, gravitational to my strokes. Heterochromatic girl, I see the shades of you in memory and intent, in gaffes and bids anew. Hide if you wish or must. I'll pretend I don't see if that's a more comfortable place for you to be, if there's a better time to be understood as complexity instead of a snapshot responded to reflexively. Night is not day, rock is not sky, blood is not thought, fear is not time, but hints of all coexist in your eyes, in your skin, defined as one so invested may chance to espy within. I have written several sequel, prequel, and trilogy pieces. If the subsequence happens to come in a flurry, I will consider them as parts 1, 2, etc. of the same piece. If I am not too much later inspired to write a companion piece or pieces, I will note them as sequel, prequel, etc. I have also been known to write a piece years later, only to realize that by complementary style and or perspective, it must be considered related. In this instance, I wrote Heterochromatic Girl first, inspired solely by the visual intrigue of a person with heterochromia. Liking that piece very much, I asked myself, yeah, but how did they meet? And Accented Girl came to fruition. The format. These two pieces are like arrangements of 11 arrhythmic ballad quatrains, where lines 2 and 4 of each stanza rhyme, but rhymes to those specific lines are not carried throughout the pieces. In each first stanza, the subject is addressed by her de facto nickname, this followed by 5 stanzas of conversational observation, all of which are likely not to be spoken aloud, as such deep observations can be off-putting. I mentioned previously to this video that people don't always wish to be seen in such detail, as defensively they may feel they're being picked apart, dissected for later use or abuse. And while my observations are more often than not correct, I've learned not to voice them aloud for the above reasons, but I digress. Subsequent to those 5, the subject is addressed again by an even deeper 3-stanza observation, tinged with notes of life philosophy. Then there's a 2-stanza callback coda to the second and first stanzas, a sort of retrograde bow tying, as it were. Now, the content. As I tend to feel things just as I voice them, I've been labeled, quote, an artist through and through. In this vein, outright honesty in the context of mutual attraction emerges with poetry I feel no need to suppress. This is, to me, the height of romance. Verbally, of course, as the specific scent or actual touch of an interest is not discussed in these pieces. In Accented Girl, the narrator and subject are first meeting, or, if the entire piece is to be considered as taking place in the narrator's mind, perhaps on the cusp of a meeting. He notes her accent, shows interest in its and therefore her origin and culture, his appreciation for the song in everyone's voice, how fortune has brought them together, and in the final stanza hints that, well, if you're not feeling it too, that's okay, because we're just two people getting along in the world. It is, after all, a first meeting, but the narrator attempts to show that he appreciates her uniqueness, her connectedness to her culture, and then, if she wants to know more about him, so be it, if it's in the cards. In Heterochromatic Girl, it seems that the relationship has progressed. In this point, the narrator has delved more deeply into the subject's personality. Heterochromia, as a standalone term, means differently colored. It typically refers to the irises being 2 different colors, left versus right, or a swash of alternate color within one eye. The second line of the piece refers to that more common understanding, but the third expands it to the overall definition. The poesy of the 4th line, leading to the full second stanza of contrasts, at first diametric, then near metaphysically conceptual, seems a whimsical throwaway, but it does hint at the truth of the narrator's confession. The next stanza begins, 2 browns may exist, leading the reader to think that perhaps the subject eyes are, for example, one amber and one mahogany. Yet this is immediately followed by, as observed sameness, which serves to break the addressee and, of course, the reader from observable confines. Indeed, they are alluded to, but they are not the focus as certified by the conclusion of that stanza leading to the next. He then alludes to her freckled skin, her curves, his desire to touch them, all of this in addition to his understanding of her life choices, attitudes, successes, and failures, flaws and all, also alluring. He knows her, certainly, but recognizes that, as previously stated, not everyone is comfortable being seen, and that sometimes what is seen and or known is merely a snapshot, as we are ever-changing. But, acknowledging that eclectic dualities often exist, he does want to see her, to know her to the core, if she would allow it. Because, at this point, as she is no passing fancy, he would invest in it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope it has been some mix of enlightening, entertaining, and thought-provoking, and if not, well, perhaps another time. You could have spent it any number of ways, but I sincerely appreciate that you've chosen to spend this time listening to phrases I have turned. I'd like to hear your thoughts as well. Drop a comment below regarding what your own or someone else's creative writing and/or spoken word has meant to you. Also, subscribe to my channel if you like. I'm not sure how often I'll be posting, but if you click the notification bell, you'll be among the first to know when I do. And keep this in mind. Artists should never fear external criticism for being abstruse, esoteric, unpredictable, etc. We should only fear the inability to push past our hesitation in response to it. Inability. It's such a lie. You can always do something. And if it doesn't turn out exactly how you planned, sometimes that's the gravy. The unintentionally, audaciously mesmerizing. I believe in you. But you don't need me to, because you've got this. Start today. Embody the strength. Find a voice. Be heard.